AI tried to fix my procrastination. 3 weeks ago, I gave an AI access to my goals, my schedule, my habits, and a brutally honest description of my biggest problem. And what it told me wasn't what I expected. Because after analyzing everything, the AI came to a conclusion that was honestly a little insulting. It told me that procrastination wasn't my problem. At least not the way I thought it was, and if the AI was right, it meant I'd been trying to solve the wrong problem for years. Now, before I tell you what it discovered, you need to understand something. I am not lazy. At least, I don't think I am. Maybe you're the same way. I have goals, big goals, projects I want to finish, skills I want to learn, ideas I can't stop thinking about. But somehow, the things that matter most are always the things I do last. And eventually I started wondering something. What if a machine could figure out why? So I made a deal with an AI. For the next 30 days, I would do exactly what it told me to do. And by the end of this experiment, I learned something that completely changed how I think about productivity. But first, the AI needed evidence, and what it found was embarrassing. The problem. The first thing the AI asked me to do was track my behavior, not what I planned to do, what I actually did. Huge difference. Because in my head, I was productive. I had calendars, task lists, notes, productivity apps, motivational videos, books, systems, the whole package. But after 3 days of tracking my behavior, a pattern appeared. Every time I sat down to work on something important, something strange happened. I suddenly felt the urge to do something else, anything else. Check email, watch a video, research a completely unrelated topic, clean my desk, organize files, look up information I definitely didn't need right now. And the weird part? All of those things felt productive, which meant procrastination had become invisible. I wasn't avoiding work. I was replacing important work with comfortable work. And according to the AI, that distinction changes everything. But then it found something even stranger, something that happened almost every single time I procrastinated. Escalation. The AI asked me to write down exactly what I was feeling before I avoided a task. Not after, before. At first I thought this was pointless, then a pattern appeared. Every delayed task shared one thing in common. Uncertainty. The bigger the uncertainty, the bigger the procrastination. Writing a video, delayed. Launching a project, delayed. Learning a difficult skill, delayed. Making an important decision, delayed. Simple tasks, done immediately. The AI wasn't seeing laziness, it was seeing fear, not dramatic fear, subtle fear. The kind that disguises itself as logic, the kind that says, I'll start tomorrow. I need more information. I should prepare first. I just need a better plan. And suddenly I started questioning everything. Because if procrastination wasn't caused by laziness, then why was I spending so much energy trying to become more disciplined? And that's when the AI made a prediction that sounded ridiculous. It claimed that if I followed one rule for 7 days, my procrastination would drop dramatically. I didn't believe it, but I tried it anyway. Their discovery. The rule was almost laughably simple. Whenever I felt resistance toward a task, I wasn't allowed to finish it. I was only allowed to start it. That's it. 2 minutes. Not 2 hours. 2 minutes. When I heard this, I thought, no way this is the answer. But the AI explained something fascinating. Most people think procrastination happens before they start, but according to the data, the hardest part is crossing the starting line. Once momentum exists, the brain behaves differently. So for the next week, every important task had one goal. Start, not finish, just start. And what happened next completely surprised me. Not because the rule worked, but because of what it exposed. The experiment, day 1. I opened a project I had been avoiding for weeks. I told myself I'd work for 2 minutes. 40 minutes later, I was still working. Day 2. Same thing. Day 3. Again. And slowly I began noticing something. The task wasn't the problem, the story in my head was. Before starting, my brain imagined the entire mountain. After starting, the mountain disappeared. There was only the next step, and suddenly the AI's theory started making sense. Maybe procrastination isn't avoidance of work, maybe it's avoidance of emotion. The overwhelm, the uncertainty, the possibility of failure, the possibility of discovering you're not as good as you hoped. The AI wasn't managing my time, it was managing the psychological friction that happened before action. But then something happened that nearly ruined the entire experiment. A week later, I fell back into old habits, and that's when the AI revealed the real solution. The twist. You see, I thought the 2-minute rule was the answer. It wasn't. It was only the symptom. The real breakthrough came from a question the AI asked. It said, "If your goals are important, why do they always compete against easier alternatives?" That question stuck with me, because every day looked the same. Important work was optional. Distractions were available instantly. The AI concluded that I wasn't losing battles against procrastination. I was losing battles against environment. My phone, my tabs, my notifications, my endless access to entertainment. The problem wasn't willpower. The problem was architecture. I had built a life where distractions were easier than progress, and every day I expected discipline to save me, so the AI told me to do something radical, remove decisions, schedule the work, block the distractions, reduce the options, make progress easier than avoidance. And for the first time, consistency became easier. Not because I became stronger, because the system became smarter. Lesson. At the beginning of this experiment, I thought AI would give me some secret productivity hack, a hidden technique, a magic framework. Instead, it exposed something uncomfortable. Most procrastination isn't about laziness. It's about friction. It's about uncertainty. It's about emotional resistance. And most importantly, it's about the environments we build around ourselves. The strange thing is that AI never really fixed my procrastination. It simply showed me what was already there. And maybe that's the real lesson. The biggest obstacle to your goals might not be a lack of motivation. It might be that you're trying to solve the wrong problem. Because the moment I stopped asking, "How do I become more disciplined?" and started asking, "Why is starting so hard?" everything began to change. And if you're someone who constantly delays things you care about, maybe that's the question worth asking yourself too.